Hello and a warm welcome to the Federal. I'm Neelu Vyas. Yesterday, the National Executive of BJP concluded in New Delhi with the Prime Minister's speech, where he asked the party workers to go on a large-scale outreach program, including the minorities, the marginalized. He also said that BJP is no longer a political movement, but rather a social movement where the need of the hour is to convert the Amrit Kal into Kartavya Kal. In fact, he has also told the party functionaries not to drop the ball on key issues. So the question we are raising through this program is that does Prime Minister's speech give the first glimpse of BJP's strategy for 2024 elections and also the 9 states which will be going to polls? And is this speech also a sign of BJP's electoral readiness or rather nervousness? I'm joined by two special guests, Aditi Phadnis, who is a political writer and a columnist. Welcome, Aditi Phadnis, on the program. I'm also joined
political editor, Business Standard.
Political editor, Business Standard. Thank you, Aditi, for joining. And I'm also joined by Sanjeev Pancholi, who's the spokesperson for the BJP. Sanjeev ji, welcome on the program. I'd like to begin with Aditi first, and then I will come to you, Sanjeev. Aditi, how do you really read Prime Minister's speech where he says that BJP is no longer a political movement, but rather a social movement? And why I'm asking you this question is that there's so much of hatred, there's so much of animosity within the society, where Prime Minister did not address the hatred part. Constantly, RSS's ideology has been criticized by political parties and by various people, but there was no word on it. But he spoke about BJP being a social movement. So in that context, how would you really read the PM's speech?
Well, I find it all a bit confusing because there are already so many social movements. The RSS is a social movement. It does not consider itself a political movement at all. So exactly what a social movement is, I'm not sure. Does the BJP commit itself to achieving a socially casteless society? Or at least not a caste society, in which case the factor of winnability, which often masquerades as kind of a overcoming caste and so on, that factor should not be present in any candidate selection at all. All candidates should only be selected by the party for their social standing, and that has nothing to do with caste. But in fact, we do know that caste plays an important role in selecting candidates, and that, to my mind, is not what constitutes a social movement. Second, as you said rightly on the question of hate, it's true that strict action was taken against Nupur Sharma when she made some extremely offensive remarks about minorities. But after that, we have not seen too much said about the elimination of hate speech. And in fact, Mohan Bhagwat ji, in his speech on Vijay Dashmi, said that what had happened after the statements made by Nupur Sharma, the beheading of very poor, very marginalized people by elements from the minorities, was a wrong thing. It should not have been done. He's absolutely right. It should not have been done. But those statements should also not have been made, which was not referred to him by or by anybody else. So there are a number of things like that.
Right. But Aditi, would you be in a position to clearly say that the Prime Minister has distinctly laid out a political roadmap for 2024 elections and also the states which go to polls this year? Has he cleared out a clear roadmap?
Right. I'm not sure if it's a clear roadmap. We are only in possession of the version of the speech that has been reported to us. Possibly not the full speech where he speaks about how to achieve victory. The 9 elections are very different states. They have very different circumstances. So if I were a BJP worker, I would be asking myself what my social duty is, what is it that the Prime Minister is asking for. And that is a very tiny contribution, which
Right.
is basically that I need to look out for my party, make sure that those people whom I work for or whom I know go to vote and vote for my party and so on.
Right.
Which is like, I mean, for a party leader of the Prime Minister's stature, it is pretty much motherhood and apple pie kind of a statement which you expect him to make. So I did not, if you are asking me whether I saw a roadmap for 2024, no, I did not.
Okay, so you say that the roadmap at least doesn't look very clear for 2024 elections. Sandeep Pancholi, I'll come to you. PM in his speech yesterday almost has given a countdown that just 400 days are left for 2024 elections. All the party cadres and the members should really gear up. Uh, is it really a sign of BJP's electoral readiness, or you would say rather nervousness, because it's going to be the third term where BJP is eyeing at the third term?
No, Niluji, BJP never find a nervousness because all the karyakartas and the workers of the party are working 24/7 by 365 days. We are always in the election mode because actually our motto to serve the community which are at the very, very lower level. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is the slogan of the BJP, and that will continue as the BJP stands. Because when the BJP is formed in 1980, we had a Panchanistha, and that Panchanistha shows that basically हमें अंत्योदय तक पहुंचना है, सर्वधर्म संभाव, मूल्यनिष्ठ राजनीति, and on that basis and that the philosophy, the Bharatiya Janata Party is working since 1980. I can say the dream of Pandit Dindayal Upadhyay is for working for the person who is at the end of the society, that the Antyodaya. And always BJP means that each and all person in the society must have the same level, whether it is of the different caste, different religion, but we all must be the same. And that is the basic philosophy of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
No, but what he said about, Mr. Pancholi, what he said about the social movement, that BJP is a social movement, is it not true that BJP is totally banking on the politics of beneficiaries? He's talking about socio-economic reforms, but Prime Minister stays away from saying anything about hatred. Recently, you have your own MP, Sadhvi Pragya Thakur, saying that, you should have your kitchen knives ready. Then you have the likes of Nupur Sharma. There are many examples which I don't want to get into. But without addressing this aspect, how can the Prime Minister really talk about the fact that BJP is not a political movement, but a social movement? What kind of peace is BJP looking at in the society?
Actually, I told little bit about this social movement in my previous talk. I can say BJP is born from the RSS. And previously it was, we know that it was a Jansangh. And thereafter it has been melted in the Janata Party. And now once again the Bharatiya Janata Party is formed due to his ideology in 1980. So the basic ideology is Sarvadharma Sambhav, I can say. Antyodaya tak hame pahunchna hai, the Mulyanist Rajniti. So in some of the cadres or some of the leaders, they've forgotten what is the actual ideology of the Bharatiya Janata Party. So I must say that Sri Modi ji has once again revived all the people, go for the socio-economic system, because our fundamental
what is BJP's ideology? You are saying that BJP is ideology, but does BJP have an ideology? Because BJP follows the ideology of RSS. And what RSS is...
No, BJP and RSS both have a different ideology, even though we are the child of the RSS. We have the Panchanistha, we have the Mulyos. 5 Nishtas are there on the BJP. If you go to the Google, you will find out, you may find the Panchanistas of Bharatiya Janata Party, and on which each and every the worker is working on that. Even though it's a small leader or a big leader, it's a big karyakarta or a small karyakarta. Basically, people must, what the Modi says to us, the PM says to us, that we must follow the basic things, and the basic things of the Bharatiya Janata Party is the Panchanissa. And that is what I am saying. That is the number one is Sarvadhara Sambhav. Some of our leaders are, you see, they are very aggressive, like Nupur Sharma and Pragnaji that you had mentioned in your comment. So basically, the ideology of Bharatiya Janata Party is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That is, I can say in the one sentence. But the Mulyanist Rajniti and हमें अंत्योदय तक पहुंचना है. That means we must uplift the life of the poor, or we must uplift the life of the person who is at the very end of his end in the society. So each and everybody must have same living standard, and the living standard of people must be uplifted. And that's why Modi ji has told each and every karyakartas, each and every leaders go through whatever the government scheme the government have, and how to take an advantage of their government scheme at last from the community.
So what does it mean? Are we not going to see the likes of Narottam Mishra commenting on films like what has come out in the news? The Prime Minister has told the leaders not to comment on frivolous issues, especially on films and movies. So is that not going to happen over the next 400 days? Am I to assume that?
No, I can say some of our leaders are forgotten the basic ideology of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Bharatiya Janata Party is not only the Hindutva. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That doesn't mean that it's a Hindutva. So the Modi ji has appealed the people. They aggressively told the people that we must work for the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. There is no religion, no caste, just how we can uplift the lives of the people in India, and we can have a, what do you call, हम माँ भारती के लिए क्या काम कर सकते हैं, हम उनको क्या वैभव दे सकते हैं. That is what the ideology of the Bharatiya Janata Party.
पंचोली जी, आपको साधुवाद. आप जो बोल रहे हैं वो भाजपा से हम लोग ज्यादा सुनते नहीं हैं.
No, basically, these are the basic ideology.
Yeah.
If you go through the website bjp.org, you will find out the Panchanista of the Bharatiya Janata Party. But
सर
website
पर जो है वो एक चीज है.
No, that's why the Modi ji has told this.
Let me come to Aditi.
That's why the Modi ji has told in this national executive meeting that we must follow.
Okay, Sanjeev ji, just hold your
our
thoughts.
fundamentals.
Hold your thoughts. I want to go to Aditi. Aditi, Prime Minister's speech, basically Devendra Fadnavis said that his speech was almost like that of a statesman. This is what was made out to believe, so he made a statesman speech, putting out the roadmap very, very clearly as to BJP will strategize in a very normal kind of a fashion for 2024 and also for the states which are going to polls. But how do you really read this? The kind of, how are we really going to see the next 400 days unfolding before the nation? Is it going to be more polarization? Is it going to be more of beneficiary politics, more of ration politics that, okay, free rations are there, more of housing? That is what BJP is really banking on. And that's how they're going to win the 2024 elections. What does it look like?
Well, judging by what Pancholi ji is saying, it is going to be more of beneficiary Labharti, which I have no objection to. I mean, there is no doubt at all that if you ignore certain aspects of the BJP's sort of philosophy, it has done extraordinary amount of work among the underprivileged, among those who are to whom the largest of the state never reached in the past, and so on. It's another matter that it's building up using existing policies as building blocks to take forward its own Labharti politics. And I have no objection with that. After all, a party is in power to raise the last man. And this is what the socialists have also said. This is what the Congress has also said. And this is what the BJP is also saying. No problem with that at all. The only thing is whether that is going to be the central point of the 2024 campaign, or it's going to be something else at the last minute. A BJP supporter told me that there are times when even the BJP tends to lose faith, and then Pradhan Mantri tilak laga ke kahin se prakat hote hain, and then the whole scenario changes. He goes to Badrinath, he goes to Kedarnath, he even does Ganga Aarti in Varanasi, and then that changes everything. Or he does, he orders firing across the border. Whether that firing is justified or whether it goes where it's supposed to go is another matter. Anyway, but that's not the point. The point is that Labharti politics is exactly what we expect. We do expect the BJP to capitalize on the fact that it has done extensive work among those uh, underprivileged sections of society, has brought people up to a standard of living which they could not have dreamt of previously. There is no doubt about all that. There's no argument with all that. And if that is going to be the BJP standpoint, I think it will get even more seats beyond the 303 that it has, even more in the election campaign and later. But the question is whether there is another side to this and whether the BJP is going to capitalize on that as well.
What Aditi said, that is that going to be the central theme? That's $1 million question. But another thing, another point rather, Mr. Sanjeev Pancholi, why people are taking PMs speech with a lot of pinch of salt. And the reason being that, he also made a point where he said that, a lot of focus has to be made on younger generations, especially the people between 18 and 25. And they have not seen the political history, the real political history, and how the earlier governments, have indulged into corruption and all that. So is that a peek into the fact that a lot of history will be changing, a lot of history will be distorted, a lot of wrong facts will come in over the next 400 days? Is that going to be like that?
You see, Nilu, these days everything is black and white. I can say everything is available on Google. But the motto of the Prime Ministers to gone through the young people, why? Because they must know what the India is now and what the India is on the last decade, some decades. We know the manner the India has developed like anything these days. Everything is available in our country. Previously, you see the movie was on the metro cities and not in the small cities. Now each and every city have a very good infrastructure, the road, the railways, the bridges, and the railways has become very good these days. It's clean. Even each and every things are getting very clean. As the Modi has given the slogan of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So each and everybody is, you see, the India is changing like anything. So it's now the new era. So we must rely on our new people, which are the young people, because the young people are our vision and they are our the next India, the next generation. So we must take care of these young people, and they must know what the BJP is doing these days and what the previous the political party has did for the India, because we had a very, very long history since 1947. And the Congress is always talking about their achievements, the old achievements. They're the very old party. They are that, they are that. But
there have been instances, Mr. Pancholi, where the history has been distorted, wrong facts have been put out. And why I was asking you this question was that there'll be references made to Aurangzeb, there'll be references made to Saddam Hussein. Is the party going to stay away from all of that? Or we are going to see more and more of all this over the next 400 days? Is there going to be some change in the style?
I already told that everything is available on Google and everything is, and nothing can be hide. In this era, nothing can be hide. Everything is available on the small screens. So, but the younger generation must understood what the India is today and how it becomes the better India today and what was the previous India. Because for going to not 1,000 kilometers, while we were driving for the 100 kilometers on the previous day, it was a different day now.
No, saying it before the camera is fine, Mr. Pancholi, but the point is, and I'll go back to the initial point which Aditi made, and after listening to you, I'm also wondering whether the national executive actually has clearly laid out anything. And does your political worker, or rather the BJP worker, does he know what exactly he has to do on the ground? Or is he still caught in a bind? He would be caught between what RSS is saying. He'll be caught between what BJP is saying. Mohan Bhagwat says something else. Prime Minister says something else. They look like two divergent views.
Actually, basically, there are very few people who are from the RSS in Bharatiya Janata Party. Nowadays, Bharatiya Janata Party is a very big party. You see, I had been never
Prime
to
Minister
the
is from the RSS. Your speaker is from the RSS. Your top occupants
it's
have
true.
people from RSS.
RSS, we are born from the RSS, but the person like me, I had been never to the RSS office, or I had been never to the affiliated with the RSS. When I had joined Bharatiya Janata Party, I went on the website and I understood the fundamentals and the ethics of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Thereafter, I joined it. I had never joined a Bharatiya Janata Party by understanding the RSS. So many of the people like us, they have joined directly Bharatiya Janata Party. So I can say it's a direct teaching of Mr. Modi ji to all the karyakartas, all the workers of the party, that this is the guideline how to work for the next 400 days.
Okay. Towards the end now, because I'm running short of time, Aditi, last question to you, that whatever we've heard Sanjeev Pancholi saying and whatever we've heard about Prime Minister say, addressing the National Executive yesterday, do you really feel that it's a very, very credible agenda which BJP has laid out? And can the opposition really counter this agenda or this roadmap which BJP has outlined?
First of all, I don't think what we heard yesterday alone should be considered the agenda of the BJP going forward. There will be a whole lot of other things that will be added, plus the fact, of course, that if you look at the reality in the 9 assemblies which are going to the polls, and yesterday's address was primarily for those 9 assemblies, you will find that every assembly has a different existential crisis facing it. And the BJP is addressing different assemblies differently. You will not find the BJP saying the same thing in Nagaland that it says in Karnataka, for instance. So that is logical, and that's also to be expected. I would consider yesterday's proceedings a very broad indication, very general kind of an indication of where the BJP has to go. And in that, there are 3 things which are important. One, the PM's emphasis on involving young people, which is very welcome. Young people should get involved in politics. They should get involved in public service, and they should also be taught to question some of the things that have existed without being questioned for many decades now. That's one part of it. The second part is galvanizing the BJP worker to take the issue of beneficiary politics down to the beneficiaries. This is not new, and it has been done before. And the third, of course, is the Panchanishtha, which Sanjeev Pancholi ji spoke of. Some of those things are required, they are good, and I think maybe the BJP will translate them. Yesterday's speech was a very broad brush canvas into what we should expect from the BJP in the next 400 days.
Right. So you rightly put it that it was a broad outline which Prime Minister laid out, but the finer print, as you say, the devil lies in the details. So we will be watching it and we'll be scrutinizing as to what BJP does. And obviously, eyes would also be on what the opposition does and how it counters the BJP agenda. Thank you so much, Aditi Fadnis, for joining. Sanjeev ji, it was a pleasure having you on the program.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more interesting updates.